dude in the mask. He must have been so drunk. It is the usual footage type men show to each other as a means of secretly looking at other men's things. Joe is a man, so he watches and is aroused, or at least vocalizes loudly to that effect. Oh yeah, capital knockers. He chimes in amidst his friend's statements, pointing out varied elements of carnality on display. Check that out. You see how flexible you wouldn't believe she's 50. Yeah, she's pretty hot. Looks a little like that bitch I banged last night. You wish. I gotta get some beer. And with that, friend 2 of 7. Why not? Vanished in a swoosh of sliding door. Joe, however, became troubled. Hit it? Could it? No. He would know if he plowed a cougar. That's what they call them because the world is a sane and orderly place, as any scientist will insist you accept, however much the dragons call or sirens blaze. Joe, while absolute in conformance with all that is most blasé, conventional and accepted as the norm in today's America, offer void in Kansas and anywhere they speak Murison, was in fact made of sterner stuff. He had managed to keep his weight under 300 pounds thus far, and that is saying something. Srinsri America. He was then able to shrug off these psychic assaults and go about his list of constancies. Hygiene has added worth in one-night stand land. So a night like last calls forth a second showering upon his home return, followed by a quick check on the latest sporting numbers. He does seem the sort to gamble a bit. Maybe fantasize about football lineups or something. He has a voicemail and wonders who he knows what still does that. Joe, it's your mom. Duh, you need give me a call. Your Uncle Bob is in the hospital and we need to get some medical information from you. Nothing huge. They may want your blood. Haha. The last in a Mark Dracula voice, or more accurately Chocula. Mom is a real card. You would never expect someone so intimately familiar with death and butchery to be so upbeat. Mom. Hey, I don't have a lot of time. What do you need? They have most of that stuff online. I can send it tomorrow. It's a very busy time right now. This was, in fact, absolutely untrue because cognitive dissonance is epidemic in the world today, and Joe is absolutely incapable of exceeding the norm in anything like a spectacular, heroic, or noteworthy fashion. Oh, it was nothing anyway, kiddo. Bob likes to exaggerate. You know, he still tells everyone he was in Vietnam. I didn't know when I left the message. I was elbow deep in a carcass when I got the message from your brother. He texted. Heathen. Oh, well, that's good. Take care, Mom. I'm swamped here. Oh, and if you get a chance, could you have your people wing some of that center cut my way? Gotta go. You be a good boy. Joe, I'll send Steve later. It'll keep him out of the shop for a bit. She would do so because she knows, as all normal folk, that her son and current husband will always get along because that is what the quixotic do. The interesting word choice, though, is his brother a heathen? Such deviance would be most disappointing. He thought to himself, this Joe, he of that which conforms to societal expectations, that was heavy-handed, or not, I guess, if one subscribes to an ideology which abhors fervor and fire. All that said, he thought long and hard, hitting end call. He considers his options briefly. He calls Chuck, and after, the ordinary, whose inexplicable name nonetheless resonates with him like tuning forks. T.O. as they nickname is good for parties due to an excess of the cash which makes for a good time, and the willingness to spend it spawning debauchery among his friends. He is also the only blonde in the circle, a dye job which might make him resemble something less realistic than most people can tolerate. Eye gouging shades of orange in the skin and that sort of nonsense. They would meet at the local adult boy activity center, non-pornographic variety, to play video ed games and skeet ball, the latter of which could probably happen at the kid-unfriendly ones, and in the wrong place and time even the for kids sort as well because people can be quite sick in the head. Many people sigh. It is to weep to know the follies of man, not woman, mind, Joe tells himself, for they are but things to use because that is the mean. Joe wears jeans on his days off. He likes a specific brand for some reason that has nothing to do with qualities of the clothing itself. A wholly imaginary reality forced upon the minds of the utterly average. What a preposterous suggestion you give, Miss Narrator. Why, yes, dear friend. This, you see, is a horror story. At the activity locality, Joe thumped Chuck, who thumped the ordinary. Friend 2 of 7 showed up in turn as well, but did not thump any of them. As if on some level, he enjoyed being thumped. At air hockey, for those whose minds remain mired in the gutter, you know who. The sort who spends his night writing supernatural and Harry Potter fanfiction. Now if they're through inducing us all to nausea, we should get through this before the glamour is protecting me from the heinous tedium of, oh hell. You get the point by now. Later the staff began to resent the increasing raunchiness fermented grains in hats and men, and the entire party stumbled a street to the ordinary's favorite gentleman monkey club, for which to ogle boobies. Men do these sort of things primarily to protect themselves from radical ideas about women having minds. They also fail to realize the individuals dancing for their drooling leers see them as bloodbags from which to draw the vitae of modern life, as would a tickle-leech or a vampire. It can drain the men of their souls, none of which crossed any of their lush minds. By this time, the eerie similarity in their plots so varied feature only added to the effect, and the smorgasbord of women on display seemed well aware of it and started to back off. Better to get them one at a time than do a private dance for 2 or 3, all tipping at a discount. It is a depressing thing to realize one might extrapolate stripper thinking due to numerous visits to places they frequent. Joe's thoughts remained less mired. They included observations as to anatomical disparities, though rarely involving the assortment of scars, stretched, inflated, sandblasted, tweaked out stuff average folks who buy into the club illusions don't have to worry about at all. Ordinary as white picket apple pie and tyranny in the 50s. Yes, the 50s. It was, to say the, well, not least or most, I guess. It was a day. It was completely average and Joe lived it. And that, my friend, is why I am held out as a pariah and cannot come with you to the Paja Aki Sombrero Festival on Arctus 9 tomorrow. Now sod off and let me watch this city. Science continues to look for any indication men have souls at all, but data sets thus far counterindicate this to a profound degree. 1. Big Crumpet Judah Nick to 13b. Once quoted by the Duke of Leicesters's gene as being the only imprint of renounceable recognition which might Cumberbatch the Etzels into Mahotai equals nay. You get it or you don't. Get on the trolley. Is it fun to think you're getting some secret knowledge reading silly parts like this?